Satoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Randy Orton, shout out to you. Can you please bring back the punt kick one time, punt kick Cody? All right, y'all. And next, who we have on the list? What's going on?
Wait a minute. Hey, I didn't do it. Whoa. Hey, man, why are you? We're here.
I push that weight to get that dough, but I don't break cause I've been broke. If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again. It ain't no race if I don't win. I push that weight to get that dough, but I don't break cause I've been broke. If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again. It ain't no race if I don't win. Trust I'm coming up for that top spot, coming up for that throne. Trust I'm coming up for that drop top coupe.
Hey, what's good, Grind Alliance? Welcome back to episode 2 of The Grind. I am your host, Korrey, just in case you forgot. And we're here to talk about all things wrestling right here on the Satoba Media Network. And if you aren't subscribed to Satoba Media, come on and join the rise. We're on the way up. And I can't wait to see what we all as a team do next. Let's jump back into that list I had. The 15 most influential wrestlers in my lifetime. Next on my list is probably a controversial pick. And I know a lot of people may not agree with me, but you know, it is what it is. It's my list for a reason. But I was captivated by the wrestling ability of Mercedes Moné. Now, in my humble opinion, out of the 4 horsewomen, Bayley, Becky, Charlotte, and Sasha, aka, or better known as, I shouldn't say aka, better known as her real name, Mercedes. Mercedes is the best pure wrestler out of the 4, bar none. She has traveled the world to this point in her career, and even before she left WWE to go to AEW, she took time in Japan and Mexico, etc., to hone her craft into wrestling. Now, everybody used to joke with her about, I was this little girl that wanted to wrestle, and that's all I wanted to do. But this woman went after it. She is the definition of somebody who dreamed, sought after that dream, and accomplished that dream. And though she might not have been given the greatest athletic ability or, the family genes as Charlotte Flair has, or maybe, the likability of the man, Becky Lynch, or maybe even, being huggable, being likable like someone like Bayley. But Mercedes honed into what was great about her, and I loved it, was when she was a heel. She honed into, look, man, I'm and I know it, and guess what? Come do something about it if you don't like it. And before she left, she helped establish the newest babyface of that women's division, who is still, I would say, put my money on, besides Rhea Ripley, is the face of that women's division right now, and it's Bianca Belair. Mercedes Moné does not get enough respect for what she has put into the game of wrestling, what she's gotten out of wrestling, and what she has done to help elevate others within wrestling. Her pure mindset and thought process is wrestling and wrestling only. So I respect the fact that she wants to be the greatest wrestler, not just women's wrestler, but greatest wrestler of all time. And she's actually practicing what she's preaching. Now, don't get me wrong. There were some moments where I'm like, Mercedes, no. Like, you know, I think it was a time when she came out on the ramp and she was twerking.
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Sis, you're stiff. Don't do that again. Don't do that again. That's not for you. Don't do it. Don't do it no more.
Try.
Or maybe some of her, you know, quotes or, you know, some of her catchphrases was kind of cheesy or a little overused, but it does not take away from her ability inside of that square circle. So Mercedes Moné, lots of love to you, sis. I am glad that you are on the journey that you are on now and that you're happy and you feel loved and, you know, all that great stuff. You have great positive energy. Keep doing you.
She was on!
Taking it back a little bit, probably the first actual wrestler who captivated me, that was just like, damn, that's cool, was none other than the debut of Undertaker's brother, Kane. Now, don't get me wrong, Glenn Jacobs, now, you can have an opinion, but I think he does a little too much. But as Kane, the wrestler, oh my God, the dude was sinister. When he first came out, that music, oh man, dude, that organ, that fire, you know, he just came out and he was on a path of destruction. And even though eventually at some point, you know, characters, you got to evolutionize, you got to change. Kane even took it to the point where he became a little bit comical without being looked at as if he was softer than what he was. You know, take for instance that moment when he did the whole Hulk Hogan spiel, or he did with the Rock spiel or whatever like that. You know, Kane was funny at times as well, but doesn't mean that you took him any less serious. Over 7 feet tall, 300 pounds, and that choke slam, that one-handed choke slam from hell. Oh my God, dude. Kane was one of those people that was just like scary, like, dude, like, nah, I don't want no smoke with you, Kane. You got it, dog. You got it. If I heard that fire going off, I'm out of there. I never understood why, like in scary movies, people see the killer coming and like, but then the wrestlers will stand in the ring and you hear that organ and you see that fire go off, boom, and they'll stand there trembling. No, bro, I'm out of there. Out of there. No, sir. Kane, and then when he evolved, when he took the mask off and he had that slow chemical theme.
Don't wait around.
Prime Kane was diabolical. Prime Kane was sinister. Prime Kane was vile. And Prime Kane needs to have some more respect on his name than what we actually give him credit for. Him and Undertaker, part of the Brothers of Destruction, was the most dominant tag team that we have seen. Not the greatest tag team of all time, but the most dominant. Kane, here's your flowers, bro. I appreciate you scaring the crap out of me as a kid, but as I grew older, I understood, dog. I feel your pain. Next person we have on the list is someone who, on the men's side, captivated me with their wrestling skill in the ring. Now, his character wasn't the greatest, the most enigmatic, you know, the most, oh my gosh, let's bring in a ton of people. But his look and his ability in the ring set him apart from everyone else. And to be honest with you, he is one of my top two between him and another person. We'll share that another day. But he's one of my top two greatest technical wrestlers of all time. And it is the excellence of execution. The best there is, the best there was, and the best that there ever will be, Bret the Hitman Hart. Now, he made it cool to wear pink because when I was coming up, like, you know, dudes couldn't wear pink, which was kind of weird to me, but I still did it anyway. But, you know, he made it cool. The pink sunshades, the song, like, you know, he came out, he hit the high. But once that bell rung, you were in for a treat. Bret Hart had every single move in his repertoire. He would go up to the top ropes, and no, he was not a high flyer. He'll come down with an elbow or something like that. But he was what he was. Bret Hart was an educator in that ring. Bret Hart was a storyteller within his moveset inside of the ring. And if you did not pay attention, you would miss the story. Bret Hart was not the greatest on the mic, but his look, his connection with the younger audience, I believe is what helped start to gravitate WWE towards younger audience, known as the Ruthless Aggression era. Bret Hart's capability in the ring was second to none, and it was so sad to see that, you know, his wrestling career was ended early because of unsafe workers. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
I would have loved to see him go a little bit longer, and would have loved to see him actually wrestle in person. Bret Hart, for being cool, for being yourself, for being a man standing on all 10 toes. Bret did not screw Bret. If you know, you know. But you are one of my GOATs, Bret. I appreciate you for making my childhood the best there is, the best there was, and the best that it ever will be.
Nobody that can...
Next on this list is someone who I feel as if I have a like mind to. Now, to let you a little bit of secret about your host here, I am very cerebral. When I come to things like, I have a creative side, yes, but I am a very analytical thinker. I like to take the steps to figure out what's going on and then, you know, figure out the actual technical way of getting something taken care of. I am a go get it done person. I am not a, you know, stagnant person that stands around, but I am a person who is calculated. And this next person, known as the Game, the cerebral assassin, Triple H, the person running WWE's creative right now, is next. Triple H came out, and we're not even going to talk about when he was that Esquire dude or whatever, that I could not stand it. But when he actually changed the game is when he came out and him and Shawn Michaels created DX. DX was one of the parts of the Attitude Era that the Attitude Era did not have and would not hit the same. They did not care about rules. What was Shawn Michaels' line?
You make your rules and we will break them.
And then on top of that, they made it so much fun. They did everything that we wanted to do as kids, as young adults. And now, you know, we used to walk around school talking about... But, you know, we used to walk around doing that all the time to everybody, to the point where people were getting suspended and sitting home. DX were culture changers. And Triple H is one of the brainchilds behind that. But then when he really homed into the game, Triple H became this person that was so thought-oriented that he was always a couple of steps ahead. Let's take a look at the Shield, you know. There's always a plan B. He always had a plan that would put him ahead of his opponents. The plan didn't always work. Let's put that out there, put that disclaimer out there. But he always was ahead of his opponents. He always had thought of a way out, a way of winning, a way of keeping his title, etc. Triple H was more of a storyteller. His selling was second to none, and I don't think it gets enough credit for his career. Triple H made a lot of people. Triple H was safe in the ring. Triple H is regarded as one of the greatest in-ring talents of all time, and I still feel as if he does not get the full credit that he deserves as an in-ring talent, even though he's a 14-time World Heavyweight Champion. The next person on this list is a part of 3 people who brought me back to wrestling. During the Ruthless Aggression era, towards its end, after CM Punk had left, etc., where WWE just became gimmicky and stale and boring, there was this, I call it the Great Depression of wrestling, because Lord knows I was depressed and I did not tune in. But there was one gentleman over in Japan who was actually changing the game, and we didn't even realize it. He is the creator of one of the greatest factions of all time, known as the Bullet Club. And when he made his way over to WWE's NXT, he came in as a older, experienced wrestler, but looks so young. And I want to know from this gentleman, what are you doing that's keeping you so young? At 43 years old, Finn Balor is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, in my humble opinion. Not only could he go in the ring, he could show power. He was a high flyer. He even at times had submission moves. He had a counter for the counter for the counter. Finn Balor was more in touch with his creative side. Now, he was not the greatest person on the mic. Let's not even act like, you know, he was The Rock or somebody like that. That was CM Punk or somebody like that was on the mic. He was great. He was going to captivate you by his mic skills. But Finn Balor, once he got into that ring, his aura was on 25,000. Finn Balor, the person, the man, was one of those people who was a great technical wrestler. He knew how to break you down. He knew how to go to that one spot on your body. If you're showing, hey man, I'm hurting in my elbow, I'm hurting in my knee, Finn Balor was going to attack it. Whether he was a babyface or a heel, Finn Balor always captivated the audience, always had the audience at the palm of his hand, and it even elevated when he introduced us to the Demon character. The first time we saw the Demon character was when NXT, him and Hideo Itami tag teamed against the Ascension down in NXT, and we were introduced to the Demon. And we did not realize what the Demon was at the moment, but as the Demon evolutionized and began to change the game down in NXT to bring NXT to the level that it is today, we started to understand the story and the reason why Finn Balor was the way he was. And to be honest with you, I don't see Finn Balor no different than you and me. All of us have a dark side. All of us have a side that we aren't proud of. And at times, when pushed far enough, we let that dark side out. And that character, along with the man himself, is what brought me back into that realm of wrestling. Is what brought me back to say, I might need to check NXT out. And at the time, NXT was my favorite brand to watch. I couldn't watch Raw or SmackDown. It was just, Raw and SmackDown was this. Get in there. Get in there. But Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, so many others, KO, so many others, the Four Horsewomen on NXT brought me back into wrestling out of that Great Depression state. So Finn Balor, all those people that were really at the initial startup of NXT needs more credit than what they are getting. Now, y'all know daggone well, I could not have this list without acknowledging our tribal chief.
Acknowledge me!
The OTC, right? The ultimate needle mover, as Korrey Graves would say, in God mode himself. Roman Reigns. Now, I don't think there's going to be a great debate on this. It may be, it may not be. And if you feel as though there's a great debate on this, share down below. But what I will say is that Roman Reigns, right now, in the midst of it, is putting on the greatest story that we have ever seen in wrestling. Ever. The greatest story of all time. And to be honest with you, he may submit himself as the greatest of all time, not because of the championship reign, but because what he has done for his family. Roman Reigns has elevated everyone that he has touched. KO has been relevant for 4 years, and even though we're getting tired of him fighting, getting beat up by the Bloodline for the last 4 years, whether it's the original Bloodline or Bloodline 2.0, Kevin Owens has been relevant for the last 4 years because of Roman. And that's just one of the many examples. Sami Zayn got put on the map and turned into a babyface, and it was never hotter than what he was 2 years ago when he was a part of that faction of the Bloodline and separated and won those tag titles with Kevin Owens at WrestleMania from the Usos. Roman Reigns' heel turn was what we have been waiting for his entire career. From saying suffering succotash and having dog food dumped on his head, or maybe coming out and maybe having epic moments like he had with Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns turned into that, lack of a better term, final boss that we had been waiting on. He didn't care. He was manipulative, and he did what he had to do to make sure he stayed atop. He utilized his family as the reason why he needed to stay on top, the reason why he needed to be on top. Roman is one of the most maniacal characters we have ever seen. But in the same token, you love him. You know, my generation of wrestlers who came up in that era of attitude era, that golden era of wrestling, loved what Roman did. And we ended up noticing that exactly what he said, he did. If he said he was going to retain his title, 9.9 times out of 10, he did. If he said that he was going to ruin someone's life, he was going to do that. Roman Reigns did what he said, and he conquered WWE and took WWE into this new stratosphere that we're in right now. And now we're in the midst of what could be one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. Not just statistically, but storyline wise, when him and The Rock possibly, allegedly, could finally come to blows. And now for the final person on my list, and you know, no bias here.
We're here.
No bias here. For me, the late, great Wyndham Rotunda. The late great Wyndham Rotunda was one of the most influential wrestlers of my lifetime, especially as an adult. Wyndham Rotunda, his story, and if you have not checked it out, check out the Bray Wyatt Becoming Immortal documentary. It is so beautiful. But Wyndham Rotunda reached us in ways that we didn't realize at the time, which is the beauty of what he was able to do while he was still here with us. Wyndham Rotunda possessed an ability to reinvent himself over and over and over again. And it was impactful each and every time he reinvented himself. Wyndham Rotunda, also known as Bray Wyatt, helped elevate others, was such a great human being, and was one of those people that could scare the crap out of you. If you let him, you know, if he was a kid, he scared you. Wyndham Rotunda was the greatest storyteller in my mind, in my lifetime. He was the greatest storyteller of all time. Not having the greatest story, but the greatest storyteller. His ability to drop Easter eggs or seeds along his path of his career, knowing that he was going to have to evolve at some point, is one of the damnedest things I have ever seen. His White Rabbit campaign and all throughout his Firefly Funhouse episodes, he had Easter eggs throughout his whole career, Man in the Woods and different vignettes that we didn't even realize he was dropping seeds at that time. And when we went through that White Rabbit campaign, everything started to make sense. Ultimately, Wyndham Rotunda was let go back during the COVID era, and you know, it broke my heart, myself and some friends included, that was very high, you know, Wyndham Rotunda fans, because we wanted to see what was he going to do next. When Wyndham Rotunda finally returned, you know, it was such a great moment. It was one of the greatest crowd reactions of all time. He came back as himself, but still telling a story about real people in his lifetime. Wyndham Rotunda reached me in a way that had me think in a whole different light about life, think about things in a different manner, and have a greater respect for that other side of us, just like Finn Balor, but he went a little bit deeper. Wyndham Rotunda didn't create this monster out of his mind and just say, well, he didn't create it out of his mind and just say, well, I'm a monster. No, this was who he was. Wyndham Rotunda portrayed that character of the Fiend, and probably his greatest character of all time, until it was ruined by the guy that I will not say his name. That character is amazing. And it was played on a more of the psychotic side of a person, like what happens within someone's mind. And what happens if we let those intrusive thoughts, those negative thoughts come out? How do we control our anger? How do we control that darkness? And the Fiend was a character that captivated me in a way that, hey, like, this is what can happen if you choose to continue to push me in this way. And now I have control over that darkness, so which makes it even more powerful than what it was before. Bray Wyatt has done so much for so many different people. Alexa Bliss, when she was in shambles, he elevated her, even though I still hate that WrestleMania finish. Jesus Christ, please fix that. Well, it's kind of late for that now, but and now to where his brother, Bo Dallas, Taylor Rotunda, is now able to pick up the mantle and keep it going. Now, so far, so good with the Wyatt Six. And, you know, I really wished he was able to debut that new Fiend as we could see exactly what was in his mind. But Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda will never be forgotten. I never honestly was able to talk about this on camera, so it's very emotional for me. But Bray Wyatt will forever leave an impact on me. I will never forget him. As you can see, I have some of his stuff. I'm going to buy some more things, and I don't know where that guy came from, but hey, he's there. And, you know, the gloves, man, hurt and heal. There's certain things that you just will never forget about certain people. And he had that kind of impact on me personally, as much as he did entertaining me over the years. Wyndham Rotunda, I want to tell you, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for everything that you left for us, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot more left that you had to give, that you left for us. And maybe there's some other things that, you know, you weren't able to, but we appreciate your artistry. We appreciate you sharing your life, your mind with us. And I hope that you're resting in peace. Hey, so that's it, everybody. That is my top 15 most influential wrestlers in my lifetime. And what I want to encourage you all to do right now is go down in the comment section. Drop down who is your 15 most influential wrestlers in your lifetime. Who has brought you on into the wrestling scene? Who has kept you? Who brought you through that Great Depression of wrestling? Who was the one that said, you know what? All right, I want to be a wrestler. Share your thoughts. Share how you feel. And I want you all to know that this show is for you as much as it is for me. So if you have any ideas of what you would like to see for the show, feel free to drop them down below. Share them with me. Send me a message. Do whatever you want to do. It's cool, man. I'm here to hear it all. I want all the feedback. Give me the feedback. So before we get up out of here today, please go over to Sirtoba Media, SIRTOBA, where the struggle is real to be awesome. Subscribe to their YouTube channel. Subscribe to all of our social media pages and follow the wave. We are on a meteoric rise. We have reached just over 60,000 people over the last 15 months, and it is going to rise. And I want you all to be a part of this wave because it's gonna be epic. So subscribe to Sirtoba, subscribe to the Grind Media Org right here on YouTube. Subscribe all over Instagram, Threads, TikTok. Follow, you know, what we have going on. We're about to change the game, and I want you all to be a part of that journey. So again, thanks for tuning in to episode 2 of The Grind. I hope you all enjoyed yourself and honestly learned a little bit more about me. I just wanted to make sure that we had a conversation. Look forward to some great content that's coming your way and some more current events that's going on. I'm looking towards talking about what's currently going on during the week of wrestling at some point. So, you know, share your opinions on that as well. But I appreciate you all joining me. I hope to see you in the next episode. And, you know, if you don't follow those instructions I gave you, you know where you can go. You know where you can go. Okay? Amen? I mean, you know, or in the spirit of what we have going on here, Halloween is this week. I think you should heed his words.
You should run.
Because yeah, he's not physically here anymore, but his words is still as powerful. And I don't want you to see this group coming after your life.
We're here.
So you might want to leave. I'm gonna go now before he gets here. You know, y'all take care. See you next episode.
no pain, it ain't no growth. So keep it 100, I came in the running and